Good morning. We are extremely pleased that you are here. It is good to come together for the purpose of co-creating. Do you agree?
Yes.
Co-creation at its best, really? Really? You are knowing what you are wanting? We almost believe you. Are you beginning to recognize that once that's done, once you put the answer to your question there, or the solution to your problem there, or the expansion to your dreams there, that once you put it there, once life helps you put it there, that it's a done deal? Do you know that? Not so much. But we know it. We know that when a problem arises, that the solution does too. In fact, an equivalent solution to an equivalent problem. So it doesn't matter how you're mixing it up or what you're launching into your vortex. You understand this vortex? It's a little odd initially and conceptually, but it is our desire today to help you to understand this conceptual idea of this vortex until it becomes a reality that you feel in your belly, because we want you to return to the creative genius that you were born to be, that you were on the day that you were born. We want to help you to release some of the things that you've picked up along your physical trail that are causing resistance or hindrance to your full realization of the creative power that you hold. It's an interesting thing, we know. It's a bit odd to play with us. There's this man who calls his wife Abraham. That in and of itself has to be odd. We've noticed you're not trying to explain it to so many. And this woman must be a split personality, because she continually refers to herself as we. And she draws a big circle on the floor and calls it a vortex and tells you you should go there. So we know that conceptually you get it, but it is our desire today that you don't just conceptually understand it, that it's not just an idea that sort of kind of makes sense, but instead it's something that you remember, because we promise you that the larger part of you knows it. And this physical part of you will remember it here today, because you're already in the proximity, and we're going to lure you into the vortex, where you will remember fully. Humans, you keep thinking that you've got all these things that you have to do, which deprive you of having the time to do the things that you really want to do. And that really is a flawed premise. That isn't true at all, because you know how you got all of those things on your list that you think you need to do? By sifting through contrast and putting them in the vortex. When you are tuned into this powerful energy, you never have the feeling that you have too much to do. You are empowered by the flow of it. If you could see yourselves as conduits or vessels through which this energy is flowing, and see the energy as flowing rather than getting balled up, that's what the feeling of overwhelmment is. It's energy that you've summoned that you're not allowing to flow. Because you say things like, I have too much to do. I don't have enough resources to do it. Somebody else has done something inappropriate and has made my list too long. Somebody's not been taking care of business. In other words, there's always negative emotion attached to the thought that is the slowing of the energy. Isn't it interesting that everything that you bring up, no matter what it is, we tell you it's all about the same thing. Yeah. It's all about the same thing. It's that you ask for energy and therefore summoned it, but you're thinking a thought on a pretty regular basis that isn't letting the energy that you've summoned flow. And then you give thousands upon millions upon billions of excuses that seem to explain your unhappiness when there is really only one viable answer. I summoned energy and then I blocked it. So we think for the next 10 years, everyone who came into the seminar, who came to the chair, who said, Abraham, blah, 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 blah. If we would say, we love you very much, but you've summoned energy that you're blocking. Next. Abraham. Blah, 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 blah. And we would say, you've summoned energy that you're blocking. Abraham. Blah, blah. We only have 15 more minutes. Blah, 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 blah. You've summoned energy that you're blocking. And after a while, someone would say, how do I know that I've summoned energy that I'm blocking? And we would say, blah, blah, blah. No, we would say, because you feel negative emotion. Because if you hadn't summoned energy that you're blocking, you wouldn't feel any negative emotion. Well, how would I know that I've summoned energy that I'm not blocking? Well, you'd feel positive emotion. Is there anything else that you want to tell me, Abraham? No. That's it. That's the whole thing. Life causes you to summon, and if you don't block it, you'll have fun. Seems like there should be more. We know it seems like it, but there isn't. You can apply it endlessly. You can apply it to relationships. You can apply it to money. You can apply it to real estate. You can apply it to genius. You can apply it to everything, but that's all there is. There are a few things that we really want you to accept from us. And we will do our very best to convince you. And usually we are quite convincing because our knowing is strong. You are vibrational beings. Most of you don't know it. You are told about your vibration. It's indicated to you by emotion. Because the larger part of you, you can never get away from. The larger part of you, you're not dead or alive. You are alive and alive. The larger part of you is always offering this vibration. So there's always a signal that's being offered. And you, as you are focused and conscious, you are offering a vibrational signal as well. So there is always this relationship between the two vibrational aspects of you, which are indicated by your emotions. The better you feel, the more aligned you are with who you are and all that you have become. The worse you feel, the more out of alignment you are with who you are and who you have become. And that really is all you need to know. Now, we get it that you get it. And you get it that we get it that you get it. In other words, we all get it that we all get it. In other words, you get it. We know that you get it. But practicing it is something else altogether, isn't it? Practicing it is something else altogether. And do you know why it's hard for you to practice this, to put it into action? Is because you have become one of many who de-emphasizes your emotions. You don't let your emotions count for much. You don't realize that anger really matters because it's an indication of vibration. So what we're getting at is you could be observing something that isn't something that you want. And as you're observing it, you're taking it in, you're having conversations about it. And in doing so, you're holding your vibration in an even more specific place. Because the more attention you give to anything, the more specifically focused you are, and the more specifically focused you are, the faster the energy moves and the faster the manifestation becomes. So you could be looking at this thing, and let's call it, for sake of this analogy, something unwanted, and this is the point we want to make with you. Without even realizing it, your observation of your current financial condition or your physical condition or your relationship condition or whatever it is that you're focusing upon, your attention to it is causing a vibrational response in you which equals your point of attraction. Now, your point of attraction isn't something that's going to happen tomorrow or the next day or the next day. Your point of attraction is something that's manifesting now. So much so that this thought and this conversation that you've got going on is going to cause the next people who walk into your experience to reflect back to you precisely what it is you've got going on. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to how close on the heels of what you're feeling, especially if you're feeling it strongly, the manifestation follows. So, we're eager to talk with you about anything that is important to you. It is our intention to bring you into alignment with your desire on any question that you focus upon. We want to give you our spoken and vibrational appreciation at the outset here, because we can feel already the depth and breadth of your asking, which means already the depth and breadth of the solutions and answers are already lighted up, and we can announce in advance, you are having a very good time here today. So, what would you like to talk about? We want you to know that you have the ability, little by little, we'll give you lots of ways to do it, of moving yourself deliberately, and it takes a little bit of effort. Effort, what is effort? Effort is something you do to overcome resistance. If there's no resistance, it requires no effort at all. So in the first, when there's resistance, a little effort to get into this vortex. But as you begin recognizing that you're in there because you feel good, and then milking it once you're in there because it feels so good to stay, as you begin practicing the vibration of who you really are, the vibration of love, the vibration of appreciation, as you take the bounce more often and you look for what you're wanting to see, as you train yourself into the frequency of who you really are, you're going to begin to experience what we are calling real-time manifestation, where in the moment that your life presents a question, your life will present an answer. Now this happens to you often, you just don't know that it is. It's happening to you on every subject that you don't have resistance. In other words, you're driving down the freeway, you felt this yourself, and you actually know what that guy over there is going to do. His erratic behavior is on your radar before he even does it. Don't you? It happens to all of you all the time. You sensed it, you knew it, and you made a decision and you acted accordingly, and you avoided a potential problem because the problem and the solution occurred to you simultaneously, because you were living real time, because you were not in resistance on that subject in that moment. The cells of your body are doing it all day, every day. You have in your body right now the potential, the probability, the wherewithal to experience in great detail every horrible disease known to man and many not yet known by man. But you don't experience them because the cells of your body know what they're doing. And for the most part, even though you're negative, you're worrying and fussing about this and that and the other, you have set up a reasonable amount of resistance. Don't you think it's interesting that even though you have the best medicine ever, the scientists that are really after it, a medical system that is evolved enormously, there is more disease present on your planet today than ever before? Don't you find that interesting, at least? Sometimes people aren't so eager to express their appreciation for contrast, but it's only always because they haven't figured out how to focus, or they haven't figured out what the criteria for focusing is. If there's just a lot of variety and you're just giving all of your attention, or wanted and unwanted your attention, then you've got a sort of sloppy focus going on, which means you've got a sort of sloppy point of attraction going on. And when you are not focused deliberately, or when you're creating by default, then you get some of what you want and some of what you don't want. And there's no real downside to that, because in that process you get more and more clear about what you do want. But if the clarity about what you do want is coming on stronger and stronger, but your ability to focus on what you want is not becoming more practiced, then you just get a bigger life, but it's not a comfortable life. It gets bigger. There's a lot more variety. You can parlay your life into really wonderful things. We've been saying to you for a while, when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want, and there's a bounce in that, because when you know what you don't want, a rocket of desire shoots out of you. And so knowing what you do want is predicated in part upon knowing about what you don't want. We just don't want you to make a life career out of knowing what you don't want. We want you to get more oriented toward knowing what you do want and speaking more about what you do want, and therefore practicing more of the vibration of what you do want, and therefore holding a more consistent vibrational point of attraction about what you do want.